Have you ever felt the weight of 100 pairs of eyes on you, judging your every move, your every choice, especially when it comes to love? That's exactly what Jack and Rose experienced on the grand, yet unforgiving, stage of the Titanic. Their story wasn't just a romance. It was a rebellion against a world determined to keep them apart, as Jack, a spirited artist from third class, and Rose, a high society lady suffocating in her gilded cage, grew closer. Their bond didn't go unnoticed. It began with subtle glances, a raised eyebrow from a first-class passenger, a hushed whisper among the staff. But soon, those whispers grew into a chorus of disapproval. On the sprawling decks and in the opulent dining halls of the Titanic, their connection became the ship's most scandalous piece of gossip. Imagine Rose walking with Jack on the promenade deck. Every turn of her head, every laugh she shared with him was scrutinized. The other first-class passengers, people she had known her whole life, now looked at her with a mixture of pity and contempt. To them, she wasn't just falling in love, she was falling from grace, jeopardizing her family's name and her own future. Jack, on the other hand, was seen as an audacious intruder, a boy from the lower decks who dared to cross an invisible, yet ironclad line. The judgment wasn't just silent, it was vocalized in snide remarks from Rose's fiancé, Cal, and her mother, Ruth. They saw Jack not as a person but as a threat, a filthy steerage rat who was corrupting their precious Rose. Their words were sharp, designed to wound and to remind Rose of her place. This was more than just a family dispute. It was a microcosm of the rigid class structure of the Edwardian era. This constant scrutiny added a tremendous layer of emotional risk to their budding romance. Every stolen moment they shared was fraught with the danger of being discovered. Their secret meetings in the boiler room or on the forward deck were acts of defiance. The risk wasn't just social ruin for Jack, it could mean being locked up or thrown off the ship. For Rose, it meant facing a life of misery, trapped in a loveless marriage with a man who viewed her as property. The pressure was immense. The rules of class, which had governed their lives until that point, began to tighten around them like a noose. Rose was constantly reminded of her duties, her obligations, her engagement to a wealthy but cruel man. Jack was treated like a criminal, framed for a crime he didn't commit, all in an effort to separate him from Rose. The system wasn't just disapproving, it was actively working to crush their love. This portrayal in the movie is deeply rooted in historical reality. In 1912, the class divide was absolute. The idea of a first-class woman forming a genuine, romantic bond with a man from steerage was not just scandalous, it was virtually unthinkable. It would have been seen as a complete breakdown of social order. The film masterfully captures this societal pressure, making the world of the Titanic feel both grand and suffocatingly small. So, as the ship sailed across the vast, indifferent Atlantic, Jack and Rose became true star-crossed lovers. Their enemy wasn't just a cruel fiancé or a disapproving mother, it was an entire social structure, an entire way of thinking that was bearing down on them. The judging eyes were everywhere, from the captain on the bridge to the stewards polishing the silverware. Their love story was a quiet revolution fought against a backdrop of public condemnation. They had to navigate a minefield of prejudice just to be together. Every shared glance was a victory, every touch a rebellion. The external pressure from society only seemed to fuel their internal fire. making their connection deeper and more desperate. They weren't just two people falling in love. They were two souls fighting for the right to feel, to choose, and to be free in a world that demanded they stay in their designated boxes. Their struggle highlights a timeless question. How much are we willing to risk for love? In the face of judgment? The story of Jack and Rose on the Titanic is a powerful reminder that sometimes the most heroic battles are not fought with swords, but with hearts that dare to feel. Even when the whole world is watching and waiting for them to fail, their love was a beacon of defiance, a testament to the human spirit's unyielding desire for connection, no matter the cost. Thank you so much for joining me on this deep dive into the social pressures of Titanic. If you enjoyed this analysis, please hit that like button and subscribe for more content that explores the stories behind the stories. Let me know in the comments what you think about Jack and Rose's battle against society. See you next time.